Good. Very welcome. Thank you to all of us. Thank you very much, Juliet. Thank you to all of us for being here. Chief, I'm really not sure what to say. You're very welcome. Thank you for being with us. We're very honored. I would like to begin by recognizing, in addition to Juliet, our government of Zimbabwe, not only for letting us host this event, but also for being very commendable in their efforts in their response to HIV for all populations. I want to recognize my colleague from National AIDS Council, Councillor Tinago, our Provincial AIDS Coordinator from Masvingo, Mr. Makoni, our esteemed partners, Sesha, Katswe, Sisterhood, and UN agencies present. And of course, we really do recognize our implementing partners, who include BASO, CPC, Bekezela, Betseranai, Say What, and others. You are the lifeblood of the work that we do, and we are very proud and humbled to be working with you. And above all, we are also very thrilled that we have continued to work with our sex worker advocacy groups over the past 2 years. You have taught us many lessons, and we hope to continue to learn from you and also to offer you what we can to push your agenda forward around sexual and reproductive health and rights. I won't elaborate too much on the statistics of HIV because I think we all know what this picture is, don't we, in the region. We do know that HIV and poor sexual and reproductive health outcomes in the region are still very alarming, but more so alarming for our key populations, of which sex workers are one subgroup. There are multiple reasons for this, which I'm not going to go into at this point, because I'm sure many of you are already conversant. But the key ones are the legal element of criminalization, which we're familiar. That is an agenda that we will speak to, but is not entirely our focus. There is also the matter of research and documentation around what really works in equipping, empowering, and responding to the needs of sex workers around their sexual and reproductive health rights specifically. But above all, and founding to that, as we know, is the stigma and discrimination and ostracization and violation of human rights in general, and more so for sex workers, that continue to impede their access to services. And this public and institutional attitude continues to be the focus of the work that SAfAIDS is doing with our partners. Today, I really look forward to a lot of vibrant deliberations, not on what the problem is and the lamentation of the problem, because we all know the problems, don't we? We live with them every day, we work with them every day. But I really would like to urge us to focus on the solutions. What is the way forward? What have we learned from the work that we've done? What are the good practices, not just from South Africa and from Zimbabwe, but from the region? Many of us sitting here have been exposed to the region. I also want to specifically urge specific roles. We have our esteemed traditional leader. We know he is representing all our other traditional leaders. I'm not sure if we have a religious leader in the room, but the role of traditional and religious leaders remain extremely critical alongside the role of the state in breaking stigma and discrimination. Once our traditional leaders arise to that role model level, where they realize and appreciate that their people are all their people, whether they are living with a disability, whether they are poor, rich, short, tall, albino, or whether they are sex worker, it's irrespective. They are still the people of the traditional authority. And so the role of protecting and safeguarding the rights of their people is something that we would like to remind. And we know our traditional leaders have been very exemplary in doing this, and we thank them for that. As we deliberate today, I do want to remind us that the issue of sex workers is not just in a vacuum. We have all heard of the UNAIDS 90 by 90 by 90. No, it's Zimbabwe.
Yes.
We know it, right?
Yes.
And what's that agenda? Ending AIDS by? Excellent. So that means leaving no one behind. We've heard that term, leaving no one behind. It's not just a fancy, sexy term to say to please everybody. It's a reality. If you want to end something and get to zero, it means you touch every single life that is affected, right? Whether they're a child, whether they're a sex worker, whether they're mobile population, every life becomes important. And that is the essence of attaining 90 by 90 by 90, if we are serious. The other agenda that we need to be conscious of are the Sustainable Development Goals. We've heard of that? Okay. The Sustainable Development Goals may look very abstract when we talk about sex workers' sexual reproductive health and rights. But the reality is there are specific goals. Goal 1, Goal 5, Goal 10, and to a degree, Goal 17. I'd like you to Google that if you haven't seen those goals. That the agenda that we are speaking to today directly will contribute to meeting the goals, those specific goals. So, as non-state actors, civil society partners, as state actors, those affiliated to the government, we do need to recognize that the work that we're doing in taking forward sexual and reproductive health rights for sex workers does contribute to the SDGs. So, finally, but most importantly, I do want to encourage our SWADs to remain brave, to raise your voice, but also to support one another. Our work has been mainly with female sex workers, yes? Yes, we have worked with other populations in the sex work group, but we do need to remember, although we know it's a competitive environment, that as women, when we talk about women's empowerment, it is about shoulder to shoulder, supporting one another, protecting one another. And you can still do that and move forward your livelihood and income. I really want to urge that that be a big component of your discussions in your swags when you go back home. How do you stand by each other? How do you protect each other? How do you overcome your competitiveness? Because that gives you the power for change that is sustainable. So it's a little bit more than just SRHR, it is also a women's empowerment issue and gender equality. So we do need to walk the talk and not just call the slogan, Bawiyama meetings, or you're in the public eye. So today, as we go forward, I really urge us to be solution focused. I urge us to look at what are the good practices, what have we done well that we can scale up, and central to all of that, please let's remember, when it comes to the bottom line, we are all human beings. Sometimes we forget in our work that we are human beings. I don't know the Ndebele term, but we're Ubuntu, Abantu, And that is the essence of who we are, whether we are in SAfAIDS or BASO, or we're a sex worker or a NAC. And if we remember that and bring that to the fore, it will make our work much easier. We will reduce risk, we will reduce vulnerability, we will enable a non-stigmatizing, non-prejudicial environment, which we owe to each other and we owe to ourselves. One little thing I want to tell us that sometimes we forget, in that essence of being a human being, sex workers have families, they have children. And when we hinder and violate the right of a sex worker we have violated the right of the child as well. Okay, so it's an extended and very, very cascading impact. So let's think broadly and let's think human. Thank you, Nyabonga.